The storm that night was brutal enough to silence even the forest. Icy winds scraped against wooden cabins, snow drifted in heavy sheets, and the world outside seemed swallowed by white. But 8-year-old Mia couldn't sleep. Something kept tugging at her heart. Maybe it was the eerie howls echoing from the woods, or maybe it was the instinct of a child who felt the suffering the world often overlooked. When she stepped outside the back porch, clutching her red winter coat tightly, she froze where she stood. On an old wooden bench lay 2 tiny German shepherd puppies, their fur stiff with ice, their bodies trembling so violently that even the snow beneath them quivered. They looked like frozen statues, until one blinked at her with desperate, pleading eyes. Before we continue, if you believe kindness and second chances can change the world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us tell more real and emotional stories like this one. Mia's tears fell instantly, warm against skin that the cold tried to numb. She knelt before the puppies, their tiny paws rigid, icicles hanging from their ears and tails. They didn't bark or whine, just stared at her with a silent hope that somehow, someone would save them. Without another thought, Mia scooped them into her coat, ignoring the way the cold bit her arms. She struggled to push the heavy door open with her small hands, but once she did, a rush of warmth hit the puppies like a lifeline. Inside, she placed them near the fireplace, wrapped them in blankets, and sat beside them until their shaking eased. She didn't know where they had come from. She didn't know why they were alone. She only knew that if she hadn't found them right then, they wouldn't have survived the night. While the house slept, Mia tended to them with the determination of someone far older than her age. She fed them warm milk, dried their fur, whispered comforting thoughts even though she didn't know if they understood. But somehow, they did. Their eyes softened, their breathing steadied, and for the first time in who knew how long, they fell asleep somewhere safe. Mia fell asleep too, her head resting gently beside them. Morning light had barely touched the windows when the world outside exploded with noise. Tires crunching in the snow, heavy boots stomping the ground, radios crackling with urgency. Mia woke to the sound of her parents shouting, confused and frightened. She hurried to the window and gasped. Police cars, 4 of them, blocked their driveway. Officers in heavy gear surrounded the entire house. Their breath puffed into the cold morning air as they scanned every entrance, every corner, every shadow. It felt unreal, like the quiet cabin had suddenly been dropped into the middle of a crime scene. Mia's mother grabbed her, terrified, while her father rushed to the door demanding answers. That was when the lead officer stepped forward, holding a printed notice with 2 familiar faces on it, faces Mia recognized instantly. The puppies. Except in the picture, they weren't called puppies. They were labeled as missing police K-9 trainees, stolen from a training facility 40 miles away. The officer explained that someone had broken in, injured a guard, and taken the 2 young dogs during the storm. They had been searching all night, following faint tracks in the snow, tracks that disappeared somewhere near Mia's neighborhood. The dogs were valuable, trained, and essential. Losing them could affect entire future police operations. Mia felt her stomach twist. She hadn't stolen anyone. She had only rescued them. But fear made her tiny voice tremble as she stepped forward and pointed to the fireplace. The officers entered cautiously, expecting danger. But instead, they found 2 little puppies wrapped in blankets, sleeping peacefully beside a little girl's hand-drawn hot water bottle. The room softened instantly. The officers exchanged glances, surprised, relieved, even moved. One knelt and inspected the puppies. They were perfectly safe. No injuries. Just cold. And healing. Her father explained everything, how Mia had found them freezing, how she had stayed awake nursing them back to warmth. The officers listened in stunned silence before their hardened expressions melted into something almost tender. The lead officer realized something they had missed during their frantic search. The puppies had most likely escaped during the chaos and wandered blindly through the storm, not stolen at all. Had Mia not found them, they would have died before sunrise. No one said it aloud, but everyone knew it. The officer removed his hat, sighed deeply, and thanked Mia with a sincerity that silenced the entire room. He told her she had done what even adults hesitate to do, save a life without expecting anything in return. As he lifted one of the puppies, it whimpered and stretched back toward Mia as if refusing to leave. Mia felt her heart tighten painfully. She had known them for less than a day, but compassion does not measure time, it measures connection. and she had connected with them more deeply than she expected. The officers promised that Mia could visit them at the facility anytime, that she was now part of their recovery story, that the world needed more hearts like hers. As the police cars finally pulled away, the snow settling quietly behind them, Mia stood on the porch watching the tracks disappear into the distance. For the first time since last night, she felt the house quiet again, but this time, her heart felt fuller, warmer, braver. Her parents hugged her tightly, proud of the kindness she had shown. That night, Mia placed 2 small bowls by the fireplace, even though the puppies were no longer there. She said it made her feel like they were still part of the home. A few days later, the officers kept their promise and invited her to visit. The puppies recognized her instantly, racing toward her with wagging tails and excited yelps. It was a reunion that made even the toughest officers smile. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us create more emotional and inspiring stories every week. Before you go, comment below, would you have done the same as Mia?